Greetings, members one and all of this Salivation Nation. You know, I find the platinum group metals very fascinating. They are what I refer to as the fringe precious metals, with platinum being the most recognized and has been very much depressed as of late. Usually, or at least in the past it has been, platinum has performed better than gold. It is a rarer precious metal than gold. In fact, when you look out there and you see all the different plans that are available from different companies or different packages out there, you know, you have the bronze plan, you have the silver plan, you have the gold plan, and then you have the platinum plan. Well, platinum has now taken a back seat to gold, and especially a back seat to palladium. Gold has taken a back seat to palladium. And so that's been something that has been quite frustrating and very interesting at the same time. These metals are really industrial metals. Platinum does have some monetary qualities about it, but it's essentially a fringe precious metal in the fact that there's a lot of use. They're rare. The platinum group metals are very rare, with platinum being the most abundant of the three most popular that are tracked in terms of price. And but it's been something that's been fascinating me. You've seen me post videos about it. But one of the things that has baffled me, as these metals are autocatalysts, that is the main driving factor for their price. The demand for the metal is for that price. In 2015, we saw the situation, the scandal with Volkswagen, which led to almost basically a crash in the platinum price. So I was thinking, well, why can't they just retool? Because platinum and palladium are pretty much interchangeable. Well, we're going to look at a couple articles here and determine some of that from two different viewpoints. Some of this we've covered over before, but some of this is new to me as well. So let's explore. Yeah, so thanks to Medio Man and Donald in New Mexico for providing some more insight into some of this with this article here from Seeking Alpha. So this is from June of this year, platinum versus palladium, a key factor holding back platinum demand and price. So let's kind of get into the meat of this. For almost 2 years now, the author and many other precious metals market analysts have watched in amazement as the palladium price has soared higher than the platinum price, and now even gold. Veteran commodity market analyst Andrew Haidt recently discussed the various issues holding back the platinum price and frustrating platinum investors in his article, "Platinum is Not the Rich Person's Gold." Many analysts, including Haidt, myself, and others, have repeatedly made the point that according to the market logic of supply and demand, it seems to make no sense that the platinum price could possibly lag as much as $500 below the ounce, below the palladium price, but it has throughout 2019 to date. You can see some charts showing some of that. On the surface, the price discrepancy seems to fly in the face of market logic of supply and demand, since platinum is supposed to be fully effective substitute for palladium in the metal's main industrial application, in automobile catalytic converters. That's what I've always thought as well. In fact, platinum was the original metal used in all catalytic converters for decades. And only around the decade of the 2000s did automakers transition to palladium for most car engines, except diesel, precisely because at that time palladium was mainly hundreds of dollars per ounce cheaper than platinum. Yes, that's right. I bought some at that time. I remember when it got down to $167 per ounce. I've got a couple ounces, 2 ounces of palladium at that price. In theory, and according to market logic and economic sense, now that the situation is reversed and it's platinum that's many hundreds of dollars per ounce cheaper than palladium, one would expect automakers to now go back to platinum again, to retool. But as Haidt's article pointed out, that has not happened yet. Platinum is denser than palladium and rhodium and can be a substitute for each metal when it comes to industrial applications. at over $560 discount to palladium and almost $2,000 discount to rhodium, the demand for platinum should be rising. However, it is not. I will also note that platinum is more abundant than palladium and especially rhodium. In this article, the author will analyze a key factor that may potentially explain why automakers and other industrial users may be hesitant to switch back to platinum, even at an apparently substitute price discount. There's significantly more diversity in the annual production of palladium by country and region of the world than there is the production of platinum. That's key. That's interesting. In particular, for North American automakers and other industrial manufacturers, the available sources of palladium supply from production in the U.S. and Canada are substantially greater than that of platinum. There's a table of the annual palladium platinum mine production country by country in 2017 and 18 produced by the U.S. Geological Survey. And we can see the numbers here. And you can see platinum is less in the United States and Canada. In fact, we can enlarge this. We can see Canada, platinum production is less there. In South Africa is where it shines. And that greatly exceeds, by the way, the number of ounces and reserves of the other places. But the situation in South Africa is dicey. There's a lot going on there. So geopolitically, and you can see that other countries. So it looks to me like when you take into account the overall abundance of platinum to palladium mine production, if you look at the in 2018 numbers, it looks like more palladium is being mined. But palladium or platinum, I've always thought was more abundant. So that is interesting indeed. So palladium, it appears to be more of it is mined per year, and especially look in 2017, a lot of it was mined. But it's not. But it's more widely dispersed. Whereas platinum, the majority of it being mined in South Africa, there, production and reserves. So that is very interesting. I always thought that palladium was rarer than platinum. So looking at the distribution and diversity, or lack thereof, in the production of palladium and platinum by country and the region of the world, we can see palladium production in 2018, Russia has 85,000 kilograms, South Africa has 68,000 kilograms, and Canada, you can see the numbers there. Yes, Russia and South Africa produce the majority of the world's palladium, but at least Canada, the U.S., and other countries have a relatively substantial share, which is 20% of the world's production. So it's diversity in that production. So that does make sense. Thus, in case of a temporary supply disruption from either or both Russia or South Africa, which are, not the most stable markets, automakers and other manufacturers would at least have the access to a significant amount of palladium supply from North America or other global sources. But with platinum production in 2018, it's a rather different story. We can see there South Africa has the vast majority there. In platinum, the single country of South Africa dominates the world's production of the supply. Russia and Zimbabwe produce a substantial portion of the rest of the world's platinum supply. Canada, the U.S., and other countries only produce a mere 12% of the world's platinum supply. Looking at the production gap in another way, the U.S. produces more than 3 times as much palladium as it does platinum. Stillwater Palladium, by the way, is the sole company in the United States, and I think it was bought out by some other company. And Canada and other countries produce almost twice as much palladium as they do platinum. Therefore, in case of a significant temporary or prolonged supply disruption from South Africa in particular, or from Russia and Zimbabwe as well, automakers and other manufacturers in North America and the rest of the world could potentially have a much more difficulty dealing with supply shortages in platinum than they would palladium. This risk may very well be the key factor that explains why automakers and other industrial users may remain hesitant to switch back or retool for platinum for catalytic converters and other applications. Despite the apparently significant short-term cost benefit, they would seem to stand by gain by using platinum instead of palladium at this year's prices. Ironically then, although a supply shortage is typically a very bullish factor that drives up the price of a commodity, in this case it may be the threat of a future supply shortage is scaring industrial purchasers away from going back to dependence on platinum, thus keeping present demand for platinum low and depressing its current price. Yeah, it is interesting. And the thing is that, what would that supply thing? And if there wasn't instability in South Africa, would they be producing a lot more? If they had completely open markets and didn't have strikes and mining strikes and better conditions and all that stuff, mining conditions and everything, would it be a different case? Because there's a lot of gold also mined in South Africa. Another factor here is that for automakers, switching from palladium to platinum or vice versa is not a simple alternation that can be made in a day, a week, or even a month. It took years to adjust and redesign the automobile production process to enable the previous transition from platinum to palladium. And would again take years to reverse that process. You would think by now, and they would understand the PGM markets and supply chains and everything like that, that they would have that down to where it wouldn't take as long. That is revealing too. Cars have changed a lot in the past 20 years, and it's not like the automakers can just go back and dust off the old platinum-based catalytic converter designs, the production processes from the 1990s, and expect it to work the same way in the 2020s. True, but they would also find ways to make things more efficient, especially with the advent of 3D printing and the like. You would think it would be a much easier thing to do now. Moore's law applied to manufacturing and technology. But what do I know? That's just a guess on my part. Moreover, if they did make the switch now, then if they had to switch back to palladium again, right, for 10 years down the road, they would have to go through the same redesign process all over again. Again, I do somewhat disagree with that. I would think they could probably find an efficient way to do that, understanding that this is probably going to happen from time to time. They're saying this that since palladium-based catalytic converters in the 2030s will likely be very different from the current ones in the 2010s. In many cases, the total cost of the redesign and transition process could be substantial enough to negate the cost savings of using platinum instead of palladium at today's prices. Perhaps if automakers had confidence that platinum would remain significantly cheaper for the next 10 years or longer, then that would not be a risk of future supply disruptions. Then a one-time expense to redesign the production process could be worthwhile and economic. Well, if they don't, if for some reason technologically and the cost and time-wise they can't find a way to do it quicker than they had before, then it's understandable why they wouldn't take that chance. But in the fact that the automakers are wise not to trust in a long-term cheaper platinum price and to fear the risk of future supply disruptions. Ironically, this calculation appears to be keeping both with the present demand and the current price of platinum lower for the time being in 2019. So that is interesting and fascinating read there from Seeking Alpha. Thanks to Meteor Man for sending this along to me. That was quite telling. On the flip side, from Donald in New Mexico, this article, which came out in July of this year, says it's platinum's turn to shine. So this is interesting. This is coming to us from newsmoneyweek.com. Palladium and rhodium have outstripped platinum in the past few years, but thanks to the advent of fuel cell cars, that could soon change, says Dominic Frisby. The main platinum group metals, PGMs as they are known, are palladium, rhodium, and of course platinum itself. They're all precious metals in the sense that they are both rare and expensive. Indeed, palladium and rhodium are pricier than gold. Rhodium at $5,350 an ounce is 3.5 times the price of gold. Platinum, on the other hand, under $1,000 is currently cheaper, but this is anomalous. And actually, let's take a look at the prices for the platinum group metals as of the recording of this video. It is November 2019, November 13th. Platinum is at $879, palladium is at $1,711, and rhodium is at $5,550. That said, precious though PGMs may be, they are not monetary metals. Well, save for maybe platinum to a point. Both gold and silver were once used as money. PGMs mostly weren't. That's true. You might buy gold as insurance, as a hedge against monetary debasement, or to preserve wealth. And that's actually kind of impressive that the author would know this. One of the most effective ways to store gold and silver wealth is on your person. Very true. Jewelry accounts for a considerable portion of gold and silver demand. There is considerable jewelry demand for platinum too. It is beautiful and hard, that's what she said, and so can be used in a purer form than gold, which jewelers often deem too soft in 24 karat form. Around 35% of annual platinum demand comes from the jewelry industry. Palladium jewelry, however, has never really taken off. And as for rhodium, have you seen what it looks like? So while PGMs may be precious, they are largely industrial metals. They are the most efficient catalyst known to science. And that's the key. That's the catalyst to their price, is their use as catalyst. And so their price is largely determined by the automotive industry. Roughly 85% of palladium and rhodium demand is down to the metals used in catalytic converters. That's amazing, but it's not surprising. Want to know where the price of each goes? Then you need to assess future vehicle demand. So this is where that war between, the battle between platinum and palladium come into play here. Palladium tends to be used in petrol engines, although rhodium is the more effective catalyst for tackling nitrous oxide emissions in petrol engines. Around 7 times more effective than palladium, but also a lot more rare. There is no substitute for rhodium. Platinum's main use, meanwhile, is in diesel vehicles. It can substitute for palladium in petrol engines, but this only tends to be economic when the palladium price is double that of platinum. If palladium is $2,000 an ounce, for example, and platinum is $1,000 an ounce, you will see the substitution takes place. So they are providing a threshold. So let's go back and take a look now, because here we go. Given what I said before in the previous article from Seeking Alpha here, you can see that it is pretty much double the price right now. Palladium is pretty much double that of just about. It's close there. How long will that last? I don't know. That ratio, 2 to 1. We'll see. But the thing is, think about the retooling. Think about all that and how long it takes to happen and where the prices could go. Anyways, at more than $5,000 per ounce, the rhodium price is at highs not seen since 2008 in the frenzy of the pre-financial crisis commodities bubble when it got above $10,000 an ounce. Palladium is closing in at $1,800 an ounce. Every new week seems to bring a new record high. As for platinum, it ought to be more expensive than gold. Historically, it trades at 1.25 times the gold price. If gold is at $1,500 an ounce, platinum should be somewhere around $1,800. Well, that's based off past performance, but it isn't. It is at, well, it's now at $879 or whatever, a long way from its 2008 high at $2,100 an ounce. As a result, we are not far off the point where platinum substitution for palladium kicks in. Now, you have to subscribe to this to read the rest of it, but basically they're talking about fuel cell vehicles, and I've actually talked about that in a prior video. So the thing is platinum is going to be used in fuel cell vehicles. In fact, the article that I read before, the video that I'd done about that before, said that basically when we move to electric vehicles, the amount of platinum that would be used in catalytic converters, basically the same amount will be used in the EVs, in electrical vehicles or fuel cell or whatever new technology will come into play. So that is kind of the key. So you have that push and pull between these two metals and where they are going to shine. Now, it all depends on South Africa. There's a lot of stuff going on in South Africa in terms of their mining and their economy. You know, if they could potentially, what I find fascinating is this information here, the mine supply here. You know, this world mine production reserves, and what about the actual amount of above ground? You know, I don't have those numbers handy to me right now, but you can see that production of palladium is keeping up with the high demand for it because they're not using platinum. Well, what if the prices do change? Can we mint more? Can we mine more platinum here in the United States? These numbers reflect the prices, where the prices are now. And in South Africa, they're producing a heck of a lot more there. What are they doing with that platinum? So in other words, if the price goes up and the demand goes up for platinum, will there be more platinum in the marketplace? That's the thing. I would love to know the level of total above ground platinum and the total above ground palladium, because I'm pretty sure that palladium is rarer than platinum. But I just don't know the exact numbers, and I don't know that there's a way to really even find out the exact numbers of actually above ground mined platinum throughout history and the above ground mined palladium throughout history. But as you can see from the mine supply, it looks like palladium is more abundant. But my guess is they're probably both close enough at this point as to how much is being produced, mined, and utilized that it's negligible. It's obvious based off of this article. We can see that when you are measuring it in terms of thousands of kilos as opposed to tons, that tells you how rare these metals are compared to gold and silver. So that says something. And so I still am holding out hope for platinum, and I think it's undervalued. I agree with the article here by Money Week. I believe it is undervalued, but who knows when it will it'll shoot up in price. It's all about demand, and it's all about demand in the auto catalyst industry. And it may be a while before we see that turn around, especially after what had happened with Volkswagen, because it's going to take probably a foreign car company and a foreign diesel car company, and diesel is kind of, because of what happened there, the whole diesel vehicle has kind of lost favor, especially since we're moving to these alternate fuel vehicles as well. And so it's going to probably take something like that from a foreign car company to create that demand for platinum and in that regard. And it could be that the jewelry industry could potentially be increase and with more demand for platinum jewelry. I have a platinum ring that I've got from Monet. I posted an unboxing video of it. I love platinum. It's the densest metal. It has a kind of a cool silvery look to it. So I'm still bullish on platinum, but the battle rages on between platinum and palladium. Right now, palladium is winning in the price wars, though. So post your thoughts below. A very fascinating, interesting discovery here with these two publications. Let me know what you think. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.